and welcome to another sports podcast. My name is Cayman. I'm not going to do the introductions and all this. We got a lot of things to get to today, but I do have my panel. Hope you guys are doing good. This is the Black Ambition Media YouTube channel. Come out here for a 101. Was that Jermaine?
Josiah.
Oh, Josiah. One of them. I can't wait till it gets hot. I need to start playing them. I'm out here in the gym actually doing stuff. But this is another sports podcast. Are you locked in? Are you my friend? Go ahead and subscribe on the bottom right now. And me as a Potter, I watched some of our old videos, and you know, you can learn something from the greats. And I think this is why I love sports so much, because there is a strive for greatness. We've seen the Michael Jordans, and we've seen what it took for him to be great. We've seen him crying during The Last Dance as he talked about chasing greatness and how hard he was on his teammates. But if you didn't want to play the way he wanted to play, then don't play the way he was going to play on his team. And he made sure that you achieved a level of I wouldn't say greatness, but a level of accountability that star player was going to give to you. We saw what he was going to do as he tried to get over Detroit. I'm in the weight room now. I'm working 10 times harder. I'm going to the rim. We want to implement that in our own lives. We saw what Kobe Bryant did and what he exemplified with Mamba mentality. We've seen LeBron being able to play the game of basketball at 40 years old, and the commitment to excellence that he has had for that time for 22 straight years has been incredible. Something that we always can commend. And as a culture, as people that actually love the game and what the game exemplifies, me as a Potter, I'm seeing the strides of getting better at the craft. And you know, I appreciate every single day that I'm able to grace a mic and do this. I don't take it lightly. So let's move on. I want to start with topic number 1. And this is crazy, you guys. I don't understand this. Taylor Jenkins, the Memphis Grizzlies head coach, was fired today. So let me read let me read this article right here on ESPN. The Memphis Grizzlies fired Taylor Jenkins, their winningest coach, on Friday, with the team struggling down the stretch and at a risk of losing home court advantage in the postseason. Sources tell ESPN Shams Charania that Jenkins was called into the Grizzlies' office Friday morning and told he was being fired. The team believed that Jenkins had lost the locker room over the course of the season and that making a change now might mitigate how the Grizzlies finish the season. I'm genuinely appreciative of Taylor's contributions to this team and this city over the past 6 seasons, Grizzlies general manager Zach Kleeman said in a statement. This was a difficult decision given the consistent and tangible development of our players and overall success under Taylor's leadership. I wish Taylor the very best going forward. Lead assistant Tomas Isola will serve as the interim head coach, the team announced later Friday. That's all I'm going to read off this article, but let me give you guys a little backstory of what I heard on NBA Today. Taylor Jenkins this offseason was told to fire the staff that he hired. So Taylor Jenkins' staff was fired coming into this season.
Right.
And the Grizzlies hired his staff and wanted to implement some overseas guys and this new offensive way to play the game of basketball. So I don't know if you've watched the Grizzlies this year, but the person that's leading them in shot attempts, the person that has been their best player, quote unquote, and leading them in scoring has not been Ja Morant, who's been one of the most electrifying young players that we've seen in the NBA. That's not been the guy that's been leading them. It's been Jaren Jackson Jr., he's a great player, defensive player of the year candidate, but I don't know, and this is why exactly I wanted the Lakers to match up with the Grizzlies. Jaren Jackson Jr. being your best player and him doing what he's going to do, I'm not scared of that at all. What I'm scared of is the transcendent player that Ja Morant can be with the twitchy athleticism that he has, and him having the ball in his hands and him doing things that you can't conceive on the basketball court. That guy with the ball in his hands, I'm scared of. I'm not scared of Jaren Jackson Jr. being the leader of that team. So I don't know what offense exactly was being implemented, but what they were saying on NBA Today, reporters Brian Windhurst, reporters Tim McMahon, Malika Andrews on that ticket were talking about they've been playing the way that the Grizzlies front office has been wanting them to play, which is the offense that's kind of stagnant, that kind of has Jaren Jackson Jr. at the forefront. They've been losing this month. So Taylor Jenkins, as the head coach, said, "Now I'm going back to the old offense," and that's where
he got the boot.
And that's where he got the boot. I don't understand these NBA teams right now. How the hell do you fire a coach 2 weeks before the playoffs? A coach that's a really, really good quality coach. I don't say that about a lot of these coaches out here. Taylor Jenkins, to me, was a top 10 coach in the NBA. They're always in the running. Ja Morant out the lineup. Ja Morant in the lineup, except that 1 year. The Memphis Grizzlies have always been a winning organization under Taylor Jenkins. How the hell do you fire this man?
I'm thinking these coaches and these owners now are starting to let people know, like, hey, we're going to do what we're going to want to do. Whatever we're going to do, we're going to do it when we want to do it. And if you have an issue with whatever we're telling you to do, okay, you can go. We saw it with, I don't know whatever happened with the Luka thing, but that was weird.
Yeah.
And getting rid of your coach right before the playoffs, this is weird. There's just certain things you just typically don't do.
Getting rid of your coach.
Yeah, you just don't do it.
10 games before the playoffs. You watched the NBA longer than me, and I went back and researched and all this. Can you think of I need to research it right now. Can you think of a time where 10 games before the playoffs, like if the front office doesn't like the coach?
I know the Lakers, the Showtime Lakers.
Showtime, was it? It wasn't, but it wasn't 10 games before the playoffs. Magic.
I think it was right before the playoffs.
It was the beginning of the season, and Magic was just like, I don't want to play for this team no more if Paul Westhead is the coach.
Right.
And they made that decision, and I think there was still a lot of time left in the season after that decision. So
you don't think something was going on in the locker room?
I think something was going on in the locker room, and this is what I'm going to say, and this is the point I wanted to make about the Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies is a talented bunch. The Memphis Grizzlies with Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane and even Dillon Brooks when he was there, they were building something. They were creating something, and I respected them, especially with Taylor Jenkins at the helm. What did the Memphis Grizzlies need? The Memphis Grizzlies needed a vet. The Memphis Grizzlies needed somebody in that locker room to tell Ja Morant to stop going to the strip club.
Yeah.
To tell Ja Morant to stop flaunting the guns, but to give them niggas, them young niggas, the YNs, a real concept of what the NBA is, what you need to do to follow guidelines, what you need to do to win and be successful in this league. And they tried to do that with Derrick Rose, but I don't think Derrick Rose was ever a firm voice in the locker room. He was the best player. He was an MVP. So it was good to have him around Ja Morant last year, but you need that firm voice.
Yeah,
you need a Kenyon Martin.
Yeah, exactly.
You need you know what I'm saying? Like, you need that hard-nosed guy that will go in there. There you go. And even if you have to bring those guys in that are retired to talk to these guys, I'm bringing them in. So my problem with Memphis was the general manager who just fired the damn head coach. It was your fault. Why y'all haven't got to the level that y'all need to get to? What the hell are you firing the head coach 2 weeks before the playoffs? Some of y'all NBA teams and the decisions y'all make are telling me that y'all niggas don't want to win. Dallas Mavericks, do y'all want to win?
Thank you. The Lakers said thank you, though.
Memphis Grizzlies, do y'all want to win? I'm thinking about David Fizdale, who was there, and they fired him. I'm thinking about him now. What's going on in Memphis? These questions need to be asked, so y'all better win. Y'all better do something, because this move is crazy. Taylor Jenkins on the free agent market as a head coach this season will be snatched up really quick.
Who they lined up with right now for the first round?
4 or 5 with the Lakers.
Oh yeah, they're toast.
Yeah, it's over. We play them tomorrow.
I mean, I like
over.
I like AD matched up against Jared better than Jackson Hayes, but
right.
I still think that our defense is
it's over. It's over.
A1.
Yeah, it's over. So I don't know what the hell the Grizzlies are doing. That's really crazy to fire a head coach like that 2 weeks before the playoffs. We don't see that in the NBA, but this is a further developing story. We shall see, and John Morant will return versus the Los Angeles Lakers Saturday in their matchup. Lakers better win that.
Oh my gosh!
And before we get to the basketball of things with the Los Angeles Lakers, there are other headlines that have been going on. LeBron has been making headlines because he decided that Xavier, this is what LeBron did. So Pat McAfee, I don't know if you've heard of him. LeBron James. LeBron James.
That's my fucking son. That's my son.
Keep his name out your mouth. So they I don't know if you know who this guy is, Xavier, but his name is Pat McAfee. He's a very, very, very popular sports journalist. He was a punter in the NFL, but that's as far as his career went. I don't know how many years approximately that he played in the NFL, but he started a podcast, and his podcast became so popular that ESPN signed him. Now, this podcast and this show is different than anything else. They cuss on here. They say all this, and ESPN is a official channel where you can't just say anything you want. Pat McAfee is the exception to that. I'm gonna say whatever the hell I want, and I'm gonna license this through ESPN. So, Pat McAfee, which we know Stephen A. Smith is the face of ESPN. Pat McAfee has been in the running for who's the most popular, who has the most demand in ESPN, and there's reported tension between Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith. So it's been a very interesting relationship between Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith, but LeBron James, as the Lakers play the Indiana Pacers, decides to drive an hour out. This is where Pat McAfee's HQ is. He decides to drive an hour out of Indiana, where the team is stationed to play, to go do an interview with Pat McAfee, Stephen A. Smith's quote-unquote rival, which this interview will air right after Stephen A.'s morning talk show First Take that has been #1 for 13 years. Do you find that interesting at all?
Sounds like a coup. Sounds like LeBron's been plotting this since the moment he publicly embarrassed Stephen A. Smith in the middle of that basketball court.
Before that.
So it sounded
LeBron's
very...
been coming for the money since the very, very beginning. This has been... He said, "Oh, you going to keep talking about my son? You're going broke. I'm taking every deal."
It sounded very calculated how he went and went and did the Pat McAfee show. So
he said, "I'm gonna do an interview with your ops."
So LeBron did an interview with Pat McAfee, and let me just play a couple clips.
No wonder LeBron was hanging out with Drake. It's all starting to make sense. Petty
guys, huh?
Petty
guys. All right, let's see what LeBron had to say in some of these clips.
Everybody talk about the big three, But everybody always decides that for some odd reason that Rondo wasn't as great as Rondo was.
Yeah,
It's always just the big three.
He's from Boston.
Not me.
Yeah, no,
LeBron's always saying
they say
that.
the big three, but fucking Rondo was when he was a dog. He brought it all. He made it all work with those guys because Ray wasn't bringing the ball up. You had Ray flying around. You know, you had Paul when he get it at a certain spot, and Paul was a killer. And then you had KG was anchoring the defense, and also, you know, you throw it to the low post. But they all started with the mind, and that was with Rondo. So for me to things of that nature.
My foot is smoking.
Yeah, it's looking a little dented. I think you gotta keep that a little away from that fire.
What happened?
We got some smoky Cayman over here.
What the heck? Yo, my foot was a little bit too close.
And I spilled my whole drink over my Crocs.
Wow. LeBron saying that the Boston Celtics was a big four. You know, Rajon Rondo to me is a top 5 playoff performer when it comes to, like, you don't think he's a star, but he's a star and what he can do to affect the basketball team. Now, he did what he did in Boston, but a lot of people don't talk about the Chicago series. I was about to say Ray Allen, I don't know why, but Rajon Rondo, Dwayne Wade, and Jimmy Butler played the number 1 seed Boston Celtics in the playoffs, and I believe had a 2-0 lead before Dwayne Wade or Jimmy Butler got hurt in that series, and they were on their way to beating that number 1 seed Boston Celtics team. And it was a big part of that was because of Rajon Rondo. When playoffs happen and the game slows down, there's people like Rajon Rondo who can elevate your team in ways and concepts that only those brains can work in certain ways. LeBron has one of those brains that are high IQ, that sees plays, that knows the other opposing team's plays, and really studies the games and those concepts. And I think that Bron saying that, he wanted to talk about his time in Cleveland and him being by himself and having Mo Williams as his second best player and Zydrunas Ilgauskas, Anderson Varejao, and those teams were really not going to go anywhere because you had the Big Four in Boston, and that team was great. And giving that team credit also explains to people how bad your teams were in comparison. So I think that was an important point for LeBron James to bring up. But what do you think? What do you remember about those Boston teams and how great they were?
I actually think I agree. I think Boston had a Big Four. I've always thought that Rondo was the glue for that Lakers team. I mean, I'm sorry, the Lakers, for that Boston team. But you know, I'm from Cleveland, so those are the days where I hated everybody. From Chicago to Boston to I just never liked them. Right. So I didn't really watch them too much, but I was a KG fan, so shout out KG. But yeah, they I like them better then than I do now. They're just, I don't know, as good as they are now, they're just boring to me. I don't understand why though.
Right. But there was something about that 08 team, and they only won 1 chip. It was, I think it's a style of play of these days with the Tatum and the Brown. I think it's a style of play of these days, and I think they're even this team, maybe this era is maybe even more dominant than that team. I mean, that team won 1 championship. They did get to the finals again, and I think that 2010 Kobe Bryant championship, now that LeBron said something about how dominant this Celtics team was, they had a Big Four, I think that's even more impressive, that 2010 championship that Kobe Bryant had against this Boston Celtics team at full strength. So that's something to think about. And now we're going to get into LeBron versus Stephen A. Smith comments. I can't wait for this, guys. LeBron versus Stephen A. Smith. LeBron addressed Stephen A. Smith on the Pat McAfee show. Let's see what he says here. Before I play this Bron clip, I do want to say this about Pat McAfee. Bravo. Pat McAfee has created something with his podcast like no other. He has Aaron Rodgers on there during the season every single week. He has a way of engaging with these athletes in a different way, making them feel comfortable. And what Pat McAfee has built over in Indy with his show is something to be commended. So I want to start with love. You know, before you even say anything about hate about anybody, you always want to start with love. Pat McAfee has built a great network over there. So now let's start with the hate. This is LeBron James on the Stephen A. debacle. Let's hear what he has to say.
I'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah, it must be the idiots that don't know the game of basketball. Oh my god,
That's not the clip.
Who was that one about?
Yeah, we'll
Saying
talk about
from
that too.
moment is
Yeah,
when
We'll talk about that too.
until
Yep.
which leads obviously to you and Stephen A. Hey, legit, that feels like a moment that had been brewing for a long time.
He's like on a Taylor Swift
Yeah.
tour run right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're watching it.
Yep.
We're all
Oh yeah.
we're all you're seeing it as well. It's,
No, this he
Oh,
literally
about a white
it
woman?
started off with I didn't want to address it.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't want to address it. I wasn't going to address it. But since the video came out, I feel the need to address it.
yeah, went viral. You would be not to
Motherfucker,
talk about it.
Are you kidding me? If there's one person that couldn't wait to the video to drop so you can address it, it's your ass. Like seriously, it's and like another, he completely like missed the whole point. The whole point. Never would I ever not allow people to talk about the sport, criticize players about what they do on the court. That is your job to criticize or to, be in a position where, okay, if a guy's not performing, that is all part of the game. That's all part of the game. But when you take it and you get personal with it, it's my job to not only protect my damn household, but protect the players. And I think a lot of the media, including him, and I know he's gonna be happy as hell. He's gonna be smiling from ear to ear when he hears me talking about him again. Oh my God, he's gonna get home and grab some ice cream out of the fucking freezer and sit in his chair in his tidy whities on the couch.
I hope at some point you two do get a chance.
Yeah,
to but you're right. There a little bit.
dude, like relax, bro. Like relax. Like seriously, just
How do you feel about the way the game is covered and you players are covered? Because this is a big topic of conversation with the NBA. We have Tyrese Halliburton.
All right, guys. Where do I start with this? Pat McAfee. This is potting. This is interviewing 101. Laid up the lob for LeBron. Pitched the underhand throw for LeBron to knock the question out the park. This starts with you and Stephen A. And LeBron, to me, took the bait, but he wanted to say something. LeBron wanted to make a point. And he went at Stephen A. 1 hour after Stephen A's show was aired on ESPN on the same network, this is what LeBron James said. What do you guys have to say about what LeBron said?
I mean, like you said, it's kind of seemed like this was LeBron's first interview ever, and he had no interview training. He wasn't prepared for any difficult questions because it seemed like, yes, he 100% fell for that bait completely, went on a rant and spilled all the beans between him and Stephen A. Smith. But at the same time, it didn't really seem like he fell for any bait. It seemed like he was going to tell us that whether he was asked or not.
Right.
So
it seems like Bron is 40 now. He has had
he's entering his podcast
right,
era.
right. He's had a career where he hasn't really responded to the critics, but now he's in the position where he is.
Right.
So this is a different position.
I can 100% see LeBron having a podcast post-retirement. So I think this is him kind of testing out those waters. Like, I don't want to be on ESPN, but maybe a podcast at the house on one of the banana boats, maybe with Carmelo or something. That could be really cool. So, to me, honestly, it just seemed like LeBron, he's talking about Stephen A. couldn't wait to talk about it and grab his ice cream. And it looked like you couldn't wait to grab Taco Tuesday and start watching and talking about Stephen A. Both of y'all are very excited to talk about each other.
Well, in 2 weeks, LeBron's shutting it down anyway. during the playoffs.
I don't know if does he do that anymore?
I thought he only did that when he thought he was going to win.
No, come on, he does it every playoffs, don't he?
I don't think he's been doing it the last couple years.
He did that since Miami?
Was Miami was.
He did that since Miami. I'm not gonna be on Twitter at all.
Right, I think
social media blackout.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say this about the Stephen A. Smith versus LeBron controversy. We'll get into the topics that Stephen A. Smith. Wait, what do you think about the LeBron comments with Stephen A. Before I even get into my what do you think about LeBron going at Stephen A. on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN? Very calculated decision. Am I right?
Of course. Okay. Absolutely. I mean, everything about LeBron is calculated.
Yes.
So you got to remember that. So he didn't say anything. And when you guys said he fell for the bait, no, he didn't fall for any bait. He went on that show to tell us what he wanted us to know. And that's what he did. Hey.
It just seemed like he felt for bait because of how much and how long he was talking about it and how simple of a question is. He just asked him yeah, there seems to be something going on with you. Oh, let me tell you, you have no idea. Can you believe I had to protect my household? LeBron.
Listen,
he looked like he really needed to get that off his chest.
You know how much money Kendrick Lamar and Drake just made off their little beef? Mm-hmm. How much money and how many views do you think is going to be seen and talked about? How many people, how many podcasts are going to be talking about this whole Stephen A. Smith, LeBron James stuff?
And that's really the winner. ESPN is really the winner of this whole thing. Which is an entity that doesn't go in, and this is the bigger point that I wanted to make about Bron and Stephen A. Stephen A., this is where I will give him credit. Stephen A. doesn't hide nor duck from none of these players. He will say, I will come on your platform, come on my platform, and we can talk about whatever I said, and I can stand on whatever I said in front of you. A lot of these former players, and I'm going to play the clip about what Bron was saying about some of these former players. I think he was taking a shot at Charles Barkley as well with his comments. But some of these former players don't think if you'd never played in the NBA, which I actually looked up the percentage, and you're like 6 out of 10 million, you have a 6 out of 10 million chance to play in the NBA, like a .0006 chance to actually play and perform in the NBA. It's such a minute game, but there's other people that actually love the game, that know the game, that can acknowledge the game. Who do you really want to talk, and who do you want to talk about the game in this day and age? The modern athletes seem so sensitive. They seem like they can't take any type of criticism from these journalists now. And I'm not giving Stephen A. any leeway from going on his platform and saying I'm begging you as a father to do anything, but Stephen A. did make it a point to not talk about Bronny as much as people were talking about Bronny. He made sure to say in high school, I haven't seen Bronny. He made sure to say in college, I haven't seen Bronny. He waited until he was actually a professional, and with that you have nuance. I see two black men at the number one spots in their positions. LeBron James, still the number one athlete and face of the NBA, and Stephen A. Smith, face of ESPN, who just signed a 5-year, $100 million deal, bickering. You're telling me, Xavier, that they can't come together as two black men, two high top earning black men, and have a conversation, something productive for the community? But instead, I get to see two black men fighting on a national stage for ESPN, not owned by black people.
LeBron James. Hey,
and I'm just saying, at what point can we as a community make a bigger point? These are the two most powerful people in their position. We need to come to a consensus and say, hey, Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James are building this. Stephen A. and LeBron James are doing this for the community. We're actually coming together, and we're showing unity for the community. I understand you can have problems with people. I understand that you can never talk to people and all that. But is it really that big? Is it really that big of an issue between Stephen A. and LeBron James where they can't show two black men showing actual unity in the media instead of controversy? We see that enough in how they depict us. So I'm calling for Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James to actually unite in this effort instead of be divisive to each other.
He just said, "Can y'all please reconcile?"
I'm not saying it like that, fool. I'm just saying.
LeBron, give Stephen A. tickets to the next game.
It's crazy. It's crazy to me.
I mean, come on, guys. Y'all putting a little bit too much on.
How though?
Ain't nobody fighting nobody.
Nobody
trying to kill nobody.
I mean,
I ain't
talking
saying
about
that.
nobody's mama.
You couldn't really tell that from looking at the video.
But what I'm saying is, what depiction do we have as the black community already? We're loud. We're vibrant. This nigga LeBron. This man LeBron is cussing Stephen A. out on camera, being very aggressive to him.
Showing the world that you can't mess with nobody's family. Mess with my family.
He was not at the James house.
Right.
He was on an NBA court. That ain't
Yes.
his son. That is his teammate.
Okay, no, it's his son first and foremost, sir.
Then this is not gonna work. Then this ain't gonna work.
It is working.
Is it?
It is actually working.
It's working because y'all want it to work so bad that y'all gonna do anything that you can.
Sir.
It's working because y'all need it to work.
What does that even mean?
It's working because y'all need it to work.
Why?
To save yourself from the embarrassment.
But my thing is,
like Dallas.
My thing is,
like who else?
that wasn't
I don't know
Stephen
what-
A's. That wasn't Stephen A's initial comments.
Dallas
Stephen A's
definitely got a
initial
plan.
comments was, "I'm pleading to you as a father, LeBron James, to stop this."
That's horrible.
Why?
That's horrible to say.
That's hilarious. Not horrible. It's hilarious.
That's horrible to say.
Why is it horrible?
Okay, because you can backpedal all you want to about why you said what you said, but why did you say what you said, Stephen A. Smith?
Say what?
I'm begging you as a father.
Oh, why? Because I'm an entertainer. You can't
Thank
take a
you.
joke. What, you gonna come walk up on stage
Nah,
because
you
I
think
said
he was
a
joking
G.I.
when he
Jane?
said that?
It's a G.I. Jane
Do
joke.
you think he was? Do you
gonna
think
walk
Stephen
up and
A.
slap
Smith
me?
was playing when he said, "I beg you as a father"?
I think he was just putting 10 on the situation
Putting
and what
10
he
on
was
it.
what he was saying in his soliloquy was Bronny at that point in time was not ready for the national stage where JJ Redick threw him in a game in the first quarter, and that was his first major minutes in the NBA. So he was saying, "I'm pleading to you as a father, LeBron James. You knew that was not the right situation for him to be in. I'm pleading to you to not put me in the position as a reporter to now have to bash your son because now he's in significant minutes in an NBA game." And I thought that was a little much from Stephen A. when I first initially saw it.
Just stay
It was
out
a
of
lot.
It. Ain't nothing happened. He came in the
What do you
game
stay
for
out of it?
what?
It's his
How many
job.
minutes did he play?
But
I'm like, stop it.
But
Just
Bron
stop
did
it.
not have to go on did not have to do what he did.
At
He
all.
did not have to go on Pat
Oh,
McAfee.
and I'm not saying he did.
Okay.
I'm not
So
petty like
I just
that,
give them
so-
both wrongness in this.
I feel like most of this.
everybody
lies
know
on
that
LeBron.
Stephen A. Smith is petty though.
Most of the LeBron is proven to be even more petty.
Oh, okay. They got two petty brothers. What y'all expect to happen?
LeBron pulled this man in the middle of the halftime of
And
an
checked him.
NBA game and checked him in
And
front
checked
of
him. 'Cause
hundreds
I'm not gonna see
hundreds
you
of thousands of
again.
people, if not the entire world was
You're gonna be
watching.
gone by
Right.
the time the game is over. I need to check you
Yeah,
right
so
now. I
he-
might not see you after the game.
Yeah,
is
because
over.
if he really
You
wanted
can't
to,
call him?
because if he really just wanted
I
to
don't want
protect his
to.
household and keep this under like wraps and keep it just cool, like we said already,
Well, he
could've
wanted
just,
the world to see.
Exactly.
But if you
so
wanted
he
to-
wanted this to be a spectacle.
If you
he
wanna-
wanted to publicly embarrass him, but he wants to be the same one to say, "Don't do that to me. Don't do
Right.
that to my family, but I'm gonna do it to you on a much grander scale because people are always watching LeBron."
Right. And what does LeBron talk about? The integrity of the game. Oh, they don't talk about X's and O's anymore. LeBron is doing the podcast with Steve Nash now where they're going to be talking about X's and O's and really breaking down the game. His biggest gripe with the media and how media has been covered, they talked about this on Pat McAfee, is, oh, they don't talk about the X's and O's anymore. So if you know that Stephen A is that number one guy, you can't pull him to the forefront and actually make the environment of what sports journalism is better. Instead, you want to attack him. Like, I'm just not joking with it. I know the whole internet is joking with what LeBron did, and I know that it's fun to make fun of people. And Stephen A said the comments of if it would have been a Will versus Chris Rock situation and LeBron would have swung on him or smacked him, that he would have immediately swung back and got his ass whooped. I'm rolling. Like, I'm rolling with that. What is a man supposed to say? Y'all supposed to say LeBron's supposed to smack me up and I'm supposed to just sit there and let a grown man smack me up? What is a grown man supposed to say?
I ain't mad at him. Hey, if he felt that's what he was gonna do, then that's what he was gonna do. I
Because
mean,
everybody was saying he was scared at that moment.
he was.
You could tell in his posture.
And
he was
he
terrified.
wasn't
He
gonna,
said he was confused.
No,
He
listen,
was pissing.
listen.
Because why was LeBron coming up to me at the third
If
quarter?
LeBron
he
would
forgot
have
what he-
slapped
because he
Stephen
forgot
A,
what he said.
Keep my fucking son's name out your mouth.
He said, "What did I say?"
if LeBron would have slapped Stephen A wouldn't have did anything
Because he would have
Stephen
been
A would've
dead.
on the ground.
Dead, deceased, nothing but socks.
Sorry, Stephen A.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, and he didn't.
Okay, but
So how
LeBron
much- how much-
wasn't thinking about slapping Stephen A. Smith. He
How-
was thinking about embarrassing him.
How can you?
Yeah, which
how
he
can you
did.
think he wasn't
Period.
thinking of aggressive, like getting in an altercation? If you're coming up to me saying, "Keep my effing son's name out your mouth," and this is my
Right,
effing kid,
because-
and that's an aggressive conversation.
Yeah.
If you're coming up to me like that,
Body
I'm
language.
thinking you're on the offense.
Right.
Like what's about to happen right now?
Like-
so it could get violent at this point.
Okay,
If Stephen
okay.
A,
If
like,
there was
he
someone
could
else-
So
hold-
if it got
he
violent-
could hold him liable, like just based off of how he approached him, his body language. And if Stephen A felt in that moment that he was going to be assaulted, then he could hold LeBron for that.
And if
because-
it got violent, this is what I would have done. I can get on my podcast and my platform and said, if this would have went down this way, it wouldn't have been that. I would have got my ass beat, yes, because he's 6'8", 250 pounds. But nigga, I would have swung back. It wouldn't have been no Chris Rock situation.
it might
Talking
not
about,
it might not have landed, but I'm gonna try.
but I'm gonna try
Violence has never solved any problem.
Actually, violence pretty much solves every problem.
anyway. So let's hear a little bit more about what LeBron has to say.
Oh, yeah,
about
'cause I
how the
wanted
game
to-
is covered.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, how many X's and O's did LeBron talk on Pat McAfee versus how much time did he spend talking about Stephen A?
Thank you. And that's why I started with love with this whole thing. Shout out to Pat McAfee, what he's doing out there. You want to talk about how you really care about X's and O's, LeBron, but you go and do Pat McAfee's show and not somebody who really goes into depth about the X's and O's of the game.
Do you
sound
guys
like a famous
believe?
rapper
Do
we
you
know.
guys think
LeBron
that
doesn't
all
do
of this
interviews
is-
like this.
Sounds like a famous rapper we know, right?
Do you guys think this is like causing him any type of issues on the court? What he's doing off the court? All this back and forth with Stephen A.
I mean,
Did you
he's
see
not
that
playing
pass?
well.
Or is it good TV? Because
see-
people
He's not
watching
playing
it.
well.
Did you see
He's
that
not playing
pass?
well.
I mean, he's recovering from an injury.
Did you see that pass?
That was one pass.
Did
yes.
did he injure his arm?
He also didn't close out.
That was
Okay,
a
so
lazy pass. I do agree. It
he
was a
didn't close
lazy
out on the
pass.
3-point shooter to give the Bulls the lead, and then he also threw a lazy pass
It
after
was
Austin
lazy.
Reeves.
Yes. Yeah.
And did they win that game there in Indiana?
Yeah, after on a tip in by LeBron James.
James,
game-winning tip in.
exactly.
And
LeBron James
But he
won
had
that
13.
game
He only
for
had
them,
13
yes.
points
And
on like horrible shooting splits.
I mean,
Okay, he shot bad, but he still did win the game at the end, though.
I would expect you to spend that time watching film and not in a locker room gossiping with Pat McAfee.
He's LeBron James. LeBron James trying to win every time he steps up on the floor. I'm confused.
Was he trying to win when he did that pass?
Oh my God!
Let's hear what LeBron had to say about some of these older people.
It was a
that-
terrible pass. though.
LeBron James. We got the
Yeah,
LeBron.
it must be the idiots that don't know the game of basketball. Oh my goodness, there's so many of those guys out there right now.
I would say your league, you, and your league has the most absurd chatter.
Oh my goodness,
It really
There
does.
is every single day, and then you realize you was like, I'll be looking at it and I hear it, I'm like, those guys a lot of those guys that played the game or did not play the game, it was
Listen to
just
this,
they
is
played the
that
game while they were talented. I don't think they ever thought the game. I don't think they were ever smart. I just think they were bigger and stronger and maybe faster at the time, and they dominated. And when it was over, it was over. They don't. That's why I'm able to still play at fucking 40 years old.
Well, that's what everybody talks about.
Yeah,
It's
my
like,
mind is just like I can play the game because I can outthink the guys out there. And as my athleticism has went down a notch, not a lot,
yeah,
but
you
a
look slow.
notch.
Don't you look fat too?
As my athleticism has went down a notch, like I'm able to still bring up other facets of my game to be able to still, do what I need to do every single night. But the talking heads of our sport, oh my goodness.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Especially for you. I mean, you.
I mean, is he lying?
Is he lying? But
Blaze.
this is what I'm gonna have to ask.
Blaze.
This is what I'm gonna have to ask the modern athlete. Who can talk about the game? You don't want niggas that didn't play in the NBA to talk about the game, but you're telling me that niggas in the NBA were just athletic and didn't think the game. A nigga like me that watched basketball every single day of his life since I was 7 years old, that has coached in the game. I can't talk to shit because I didn't play in the NBA. But I live, breathe, and love the game of basketball. I'll watch NCAA. I'll watch motherfucking NBA. I'll watch WNBA. I'll watch all facets of the game. And then I'll get discounted by a nigga that played in the NBA because he played in the NBA. I didn't because he was 6'7". I'm only 5'9". Mm-hmm. So I'm going to need from these players, from the greatest player of all time, LeBron James, from some of these niggas to tell me what the criteria is for somebody to actually study the game, talk about the game, be somebody that's actually a voice of the game. What do y'all want from us? Because LeBron James is calling out Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley played the game, and let me tell you something about Charles Barkley in the 90s. Charles Barkley played the game at a very high level in the 90s. Charles Barkley won an MVP in the 90s. Charles Barkley went to the finals in the 90s and only lost to Michael Jordan, who I think averaged 38 points that series. Something like that. Maybe 42 points that series. Something like that. Something crazy in 93.
6'4", what? 6'4", right?
Only 6'4", 6'5", one of the best power forwards we ever seen, a rebounding machine. And that's who some of these modern day athletes are very, very, very critical of because they don't think he watches the game as closely as he needs to. But he's a top analyst in the game right now. So, LeBron James, I need you to tell me who you believe can cover the game. Is it just people like me that love this fucking game for the life of me?
That's a trick question. Because
why you think that?
There's no criteria because that would have to mean they admit that they're open for criticism.
There you go.
These people don't want to hear nothing negative. If you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. You ain't watched the whole game though. You didn't see the pass that. Exactly. You didn't see the pass that led up to that. You just always gotta talk. Nobody wants to hear criticism.
True. That's so true.
And that's like the main focal point or center of the whole Stephen A. LeBron is like,
I think it's
their careers are
criticizing you though.
But yeah, their
what does that
careers
mean?
go directly.
If I'm the greatest player of all time, LeBron James, I know more basketball than Stephen A. Smith can. Forgot more basketball than Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith should still be allowed to, in my books, should still be allowed to criticize LeBron James.
Right, but that's still coming from a
LeBron looks at himself.
He can have his opinion, yeah. He can have his opinion on the situation. Doesn't make that his opinion correct.
I'm just saying there's only 0.6% of the population that's played in the NBA, but there's a lot of motherfuckers that didn't watch this shit. There's a lot of motherfuckers that understand the concept of basketball and that didn't seen Jordan, that didn't seen a lot of these people.
I honestly would rather listen to somebody that's actually played the game than somebody that just studied the game.
Okay.
But those be the worst people to listen to and teach. People who are like actors, people who are rappers, who are musicians, those most of the time are the worst teachers because they don't know how to explain what they do. They just do it.
They just do it.
They just, I've just been doing this for so long. My body just naturally does this. But how do you translate to explaining that to a regular person?
That's why great players can't be coaches.
No, we're not saying coaching. Usually. We're talking about
just breaking down the game.
How do you break it down? Like even in fields like technology and marketing, like they need somebody to take those big tech words and put it into regular people words. So when they're talking about it on ESPN, anybody that's not part of that 6% of people that played in the NBA can know what you're talking about.
Okay, so no, I'm saying for instance, say for instance, I know we talked about Bronny last time, but say for instance, everybody in the NBA that's playing in the NBA now, or that a high majority, except for McCants probably, thinks that he deserves to be in the NBA now, but it's the Stephen A. Smiths that are saying that.
But he never said that's my thing.
No, he did though. If he's saying that LeBron James, as a father, I'm begging you Please.
Why are you so caught up on the theatrics?
That's the theatrics that they're
because
caught up
he was-
on.
That's putting an exclamation on your point.
And if you're in
So
the
you're
if
saying
you're
that
in
he
the
doesn't
mob,
belong here.
if you're in the mob, and the mob boss son just got inducted into the gang, are you gonna be the one that says, "Yeah, I think he needs to go back home for a while. Maybe he should go to college. Maybe he should go back to college." You're fighting for your life. You don't want the mob boss on your head
Right.
coming to your city
But
and
can
trying
I
to drop
provide-
30 on you and your team.
Can I provide you this point? I'm with you to sit there and absorb the like my dad. He's a high school coach, but he was in LA one time and he saw Cheryl Miller courtside, and he had the opportunity to talk to her and sit with her courtside. And the first thing he asked her is, "What do you see?" Like, we're watching the games right now. They were at a scrimmage. Just what's computing in your mind? I just want to pick your mind. I would love to pick any great player's mind, or one of these players that actually played in the NBA's mind, and just see, what do you see in your computer? Somebody that loves the game like me, I would love to have those conversations, because those are the conversations that I live for. Guess who else I would want to have the conversation with? Eric Spoelstra, who's the head coach of the Miami Heat, but who also started out as a video coordinator and worked himself up to the position he's in now. You don't think he's knowledgeable about the game? Never played it. But coached some of the best players ever at a young age. Coached the LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade team to 2 championships. You don't think he's knowledgeable? And I just want people to, in the GOAT debate, they say Jordan has 6 championships. Bron has 4, so automatically disqualified. No, that's not how we're supposed to debate it. Let's actually incorporate all the information. Let's incorporate the statistics. Let's incorporate the championships. Let's incorporate everything to come into a valid point of who you deem as the GOAT. And that's the same thing with basketball knowledge and how you want to express the game. I need to know what this game is for everybody. I need to know how you see the game. I need to know how you see the game, because I love the game, and learning different concepts and things you can learn from anybody.
Oh no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about as far as like, because I'll be the first to admit, I didn't know a lot of the game when I played. You know, I had to be taught the game.
Right.
You know, and I was taught the game by people that didn't play the game.
Right.
You know, so I understand that aspect of what you're talking about. I'm just talking about as far as like talent wise. I think it's better to hear from somebody that's actually playing the game, or that have played the game.
Right.
That, you know, no, man, I'm telling you, man, that boy can play it. That dude can play right there. I'm telling you. But you're letting somebody that hasn't played the game like, no, he can't play because he needs to work on, you know, this. But you're telling me that, but I've played the game on that highest of the levels. And you're trying to tell me that this guy doesn't belong there.
That's where we differ, because analyzing talent as far as talent development and things of that nature, and actually breaking down the game in a debate. Let me bring up Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas is one of the best ISO players ever. Gilbert Arenas was a killer. And like you brought up McCants, I watch Gilbert Arenas a lot at work. I watch it every day. I wait and salivate for the moments where a Kenyon Martin and Gilbert Arenas actually talk about the X's and O's of the game, or Gilbert Arenas talks about scoring and how he was able to maneuver with this move, or how he was able to score in different ways. I salivate for those moments, but half of the show is not about those moments. It's about the drama of the NBA and stuff like that. That's actually going to generate ratings. 2 hours of the show, Gilbert Arenas is actually analyzing and talking about and breaking down basketball for those 10, 15 minutes. Now, I'm going to bring up this point. Gilbert Arenas was just talking spicy to Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, to me, and this is why I think LeBron James didn't want to sit down with Stephen A. Smith. When it comes to breaking down and being actually a wordsmith, these niggas went to actual college to become writers and things of that nature.
I agree.
You can't, as LeBron James, as Gilbert Arenas, sit across from a Skip Bayless and break down the game. You might be a better player than them. You might be a great player, but can you analyze the game and
LeBron
break
could.
it down?
Absolutely.
I don't think Bron.
I think Bron could.
I don't think Bron can sit across from Skip and talk about the 2011 finals and validate what you saw from the 2011 finals.
I'm sorry, sir. I have to disagree with you. I would have to disagree with you 120%, sir. I would have to disagree with you. I believe that LeBron would win that debate.
But if LeBron, the 1%, the GOAT of it, how many other of those NBA players would actually win that debate against Skip Bayless?
Not a lot.
And that's my only point. And
But
he ain't never played a dribble.
I think Gilbert Arenas might fare well against him too. He seems most guards will though. Most guards know the game on a higher level.
Yeah.
So
it's just an interesting point of where the game is at right now, and who can analyze the game, who can't analyze the game. And I think this is something that we'll be talking about in the near future a lot.
Right, like, what do you think about that same concept as it relates to music? Like, unless you're a Grammy
award-winning artist, I can't critique you.
I can't say nothing about your music, but I can't listen to a song and tell if somebody got talent or can sing or not. I got eyes, I got ears, just like you do.
Yeah, you're right, absolutely.
Right, and I don't think, and this is there's nuances to the game of basketball, but I think if you really want to know about the game of basketball, it's a very simple game to learn about. Compete at a high level. If you do something, Jordan Goodwin got his contract extension, and this is the things that I love to hear about. He's had an offensive rebound 17 out of the last 18 games. Do you know how important that is as a role player? This is the stuff that I live for basketball.
I think he had like two back-to-back yesterday.
But those are the little things that you have to talk about and that people don't see all the time in the game of basketball that are so important and vital to how the team is operating. Jordan Goodwin coming in and giving the team energy helps the overall morale of the whole team on back-to-back days, on days that where you don't want to do anything. You have the Jordan Goodwins out there that are actually doing stuff. A lot of people don't see that, and I don't think an NBA player needs to.
Most people focus on scoring.
Most people focus on scoring, and I just think you have to understand and know the concepts of basketball, and that's really it. Tiger Woods says on Twitter, "Love is in the air, and life is better with you by my side. We look forward to our journey through life together. At this time, we would appreciate privacy for all those close to our hearts." Somebody said in the comments, for all those who do not understand, by publishing the first public images of them together himself, the paparazzi doesn't get to take the first pictures and then sell them and profit off them. Tiger has always done this. Very smart. I don't believe that. But I think this girl's name is I don't know what this girl's name, this white lady's name is. But Tiger has a type for white women. Let me just read off a little bit of her dating history so you guys know exactly who she is and why why Tiger asked for privacy. During her teenage years, Vanessa dated local street gangster Valentin Rivera, a member of the violent gang Latin Kings. In 1998, Vanessa was linked to American actor Leonardo DiCaprio. From 1998 to 2001, Vanessa dated Saudi Prince Khalid bin Badar bin Sultan Al Saud. The relationship ended in 2001 when Khalid bin Bandar left the U.S. after his Saudi ambassador father, Bandar was suspected of having indirect ties to individuals linked with Al-Qaeda hijackers.
That's quite a roster right there. Nick Cannon, who?
On November 12th, 2005, Vanessa married Donald Trump Jr.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Nick Cannon.
The wedding was held at the Mar-a-Lago Club in Florida. The service was officiated by Trump Jr.'s aunt, Judge Marion Trump Berry. Vanessa and Don Jr. have 5 children together.
Dang.
On March 15, 2018, Vanessa filed for an uncontested divorce in New York in July 2018. And then, as of November 2024, she began a relationship with Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods used to be in the clubs with Charles Barkley. back in the day. That's where he met the waitress that actually ruined his life, that he crashed the car and lost all the endorsements and all that. I don't know if you guys remember all that happened to Tiger, but Tiger has a problem. It started with his father, and stuff is generational. I'm glad I have a father and son duo right here with me right now, but some things are passed down, some things that are great that are passed down, and some things that are not so good.
None of this got passed down to my son, so I'm so glad for that.
But
thank you, son. I appreciate
Tiger
you.
Woods, how dare you ask for privacy at this moment when you were just high-ing with Donald Trump? Do you think I'm gonna give you any privacy at this moment because you wanted to date this white woman right now? I didn't give you privacy in 2009 when you crashed that car and cheated on your wife. You remember that? You remember that, Tiger Woods? You ain't getting no privacy right now, nigga. Remember, you're still a nigga. I know you don't care that you're still a nigga, but you're still a nigga, nigga.
Dave Chappelle tried to tell us.
They might be in love.
That's why they might be in love. That's why his hairline receding.
Because they in love.
Yeah.
I'm like,
LeBron been in
What's
love
up
for
with
20
that
years.
though? Can y'all tell me why Tiger Woods is talking about give us privacy right now? No, nigga. You ain't getting no privacy after you cheated on your white woman wife with another white woman that was a bartender talking about on the voicemail, I'm Tiger Woods, please don't tell my wife.
I'm at the bar with her.
I mean, he went to Stanford. You would think he would be smarter than some of the
How he
decisions
is.
he's making. But you got to realize, if it wasn't for golf, Tiger Woods wouldn't have any of the action that he's gotten his whole life.
You don't think so?
I absolutely know so. Okay, so come on now. So just because you got the fame and the money doesn't mean you know how to
Maneuver around
absolutely,
the opposite sex.
Absolutely, you just so get engulfed in it, and
He
you
falls
just
in love with all his.
You know, like everybody. It's just because oh my God, I don't want it to go away. You know, I'm not, you know, I just don't get it. I don't.
But he
get
really
it. I don't get it.
like the bartender in New
He's in
York.
love.
Why he was married, he fell in love with her. They would talk about life things. He would talk about his parents to her. Like he's spilling out his life story to this bartender. This has happened on multiple occasions when it comes to Tiger Woods. This is how he loves.
There's guys out
I
there
mean,
like
side
that,
pieces.
man.
Bartenders be really good at their job. But no, he just sounds like he's a very lonely person.
He sounds like he has a lot of demons.
I'm just
I mean,
saying,
you
get to a
couldn't tell by
certain
them
time in
that
your
cocktail
life,
of
you would
pills
think
he
you
was
would
taking.
just-
I know you saw that picture. He definitely got some demons. Them demons and the white women going toe to toe.
I mean, well, he's in love. Like, he's not doing anything wrong. He's in love
He's not doing nothing wrong.
until he goes to another bar.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Please respect your privacy, nigga. Because I'm
Yeah,
not.
as long as it's not Top Golf.
Because I'm. Don't tell me to disrespect. Don't tell me to please respect privacy. Because I'm gonna make it a TikTok clip. That's exactly what I'm gonna do with your privacy, nigga.
Please respect the top of your head and put a hat on. Ain't
Amen.
nobody trying to see that.
Ain't nobody trying to see your boss.
You are not LeBron.
White women galore, Tiger Woods. You are exiled from the black community.
I'm saying Dave Chappelle tried to tell us years ago he did not get picked up for the Black People Olympics. We gave him, I believe we gave him to the Asians.
But it's like black people will we gonna root for you if you black. Like if you a part of this culture and you really supposed to be a part of this culture, we go like remember the backing that Tiger had in his career. Remember the backing that Serena had. Some of these white sports that we came in and really dominated. So
I mean,
Tiger-
it's
important.
not like he don't think he black. He just like white women.
Tiger might as well be
You don't
Dominican.
think he black?
He might as well be Dominican. I know black.
You don't think he
I
black?
think
I
Tiger
know black.
Tiger
You
has
think he
made
black no more?
Tiger
I know
has
black.
made some disparaging comments towards the black community in the past.
I mean, so is Lil Wayne, but y'all still like him. Oh, wrong podcast. This is Everyday Hip Hop. My fault.
I don't know what to say to that because I mean the Tiger didn't make 6 foot 7 foot.
Yeah. I mean, what about Michael Jordan?
Man, what has he done for the black community?
He wasn't the greatest basketball player of all time.
Prisons.
Jordans.
Prison what? Reform?
Jordans.
Jordan.
Has that helped the black community or taken away from the black community?
It's helped him.
No, I'm saying has that helped the
Shit,
black
this helped me.
community or has it taken away from the black community?
It's,
It made people think that
he's creating his own black community.
I'm gonna
is
always
more
respect the
important.
Jordan.
Stop it.
Jordan is the best shoe to ever created.
Oh, come on, freaking $2, $3, $4, $5,000.
I'm picking Chucks over Jordans every day. Actually, I'll take my Vans over Jordans.
Ask Xavier what he thinks I think about expensive shoes. He's still mad at me for them dang Spider-Man foam posits.
Yeah, I think that's honestly a crime against humanity that I wouldn't. That's equivalent to when your dad took your Christmas presents. Disrespectful.
That trauma.
I remember it because I used to really like shoes in high school, and there was this pair of Spider-Man foam posits that came out, and I had been talking to my mom for like weeks and weeks, and finally convinced her. Like she was like, "All right, I'm gonna get them for you," and my dad's gonna go up to her and say, "Don't get them those. Why? This had nothing. What are you talking about? I didn't even
I've
ask.
been putting in work to try to get formulate my thing.
I didn't even ask you. I asked mom, and you go tell her, "Don't get them that." What?
Because even though we weren't a team anymore, we are still a team, and that was a terrible decision to spend $300 on a pair of tennis shoes.
But then, you know it's crazy. But then you know it's crazy. Probably like 2 years later, he ended up getting me a pair of foam posits for Christmas, which were more expensive than the ones I asked for. And on top of that, he asked to borrow them. He took them on a cruise and destroyed my shoes, and I was never able to wear them out again. So not only did he finesse me out of the shoes I wanted when I was in like a sophomore in high school, he ended up getting me a better pair, but then destroying it before I could wear them.
Yeah, before you could wear them, boy,
You had them for a minute, but
he had them for
I didn't get my picks off. I didn't get my picks off. I still had them things to this day.
See, like I said at the beginning of this conversation, he's still bitter.
Yeah, because I still got the shoes. I can look at them right now and be like, you can't even dance. What was you doing over here hitting the Michael Jackson moonwalk? Why are there so many scuff marks on it? And it's deep. It's like he got a knife and said,
"Want me to buy you another pair of shoes?"
No, because you're gonna ask to wear them. And I see how you do the shoes I give you. Where are all the slides and hats I bought you, left in random places.
And thank you guys for joining us for another sports podcast where we got shoe trauma.
Yeah.
We got shoe trauma from our fathers. Make sure to like and subscribe on the bottom for more of this amazing content. I'm out of here. Peace.